Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is my third live. Today I'm going to do the review of the HP Pavilion X360 2019, a full review. So let's get started. For a short period early in my testing of the HP Pavilion X360 14, Best Buy was selling the convertible for $600. Since then, the price has crept up a C note to $699.99. That's still a fair deal for two-in-one buyers on a tight budget like the HP's a reasonably peeping multi-mode machines like for 8 GB of RAM or memory and 128 GB of solid-state storage. The recently viewed Lenovo IdeaPad Flex 14 doubles those figures, but it costs more than $2,200. In whichever direction the price pays in the days and months to go, I would keep one Polestar constant, be leery of getting just a 128 GB drive in this price zone. The Pavilion is otherwise attractive but also looks in the Lenovo ThinkPad L390 Yoga if you are in the market for a budget 2-in-1. Two shades of two-tone Pavilion is the HP mainstream consumer brand, or if you prefer the second cheapest brand above the plain HP but below NV and Spectre, the Pavilion X360 lid and lower screen bezels are decorated with the company's old-school circular logo, not the four-slash stylized logo seen on its upper-scale systems. There's just a little flex if you grasp the screen corners of the mouse of the keyboard. We have the specs of the laptop. We have the display 14-inch FHD IPS multi-touch Intel Core i5 CPU and GPU Intel USD 620 graphics, up to 12 GB DDR4 RAMs, and up to 256 GB SSD with the battery 3 cell 41WH layer. The wireless Realtek and the Wi-Fi Bluetooth 4.2 combo with the dimensions of the laptop 12.7 into 8.77 into 0.8 inches. The weight is 1.58 and the price starts from $4.99 and as tested it is $5.99. We have the Windows 10 Home 64 8th generation Intel Core i5 Intel UHD graphics 620 and upgradable up to 12 GB of memory, 256 GB SSD storage, and 14 inches of this screen diagonally. And we have the specs of the laptop over here. Displays 14-inch IPS multi-touch Core i5 Intel USD to 620 graphics up to 12 GB RAM, upgradable up to 256 GB SSD with 3 cell battery and Realtek wireless Wi-Fi Bluetooth 4.2 combo with the length 12.7 inches, width 8.77 inches, and height 8.77 inches, and thickness or the breadth width is 0.8 inches. The weight of the laptop is 1.58 kilo, and the price as tested it is starting from $49.9 and as tested it is $599. Going to the main box of the laptop, we have the Pavilion x360 over there, and we have the charging port, extension cord, and the main box over here. Our verdict: the HP Pavilion X360 14-inch features a strong performance and a comfortable keyboard, but its battery life is little short. If its battery life is a little more better, then it would be one of the best two-in-one convertible laptop. For here, we have the pros, that is the strong performance, comfortable keyboard, solid audio, and we have the below average battery life, which is a very bad disadvantage for this laptop, and dull display also. Coming up to the ports of the laptop, on the left you have the USB type 3.1 type A port, and we have the uh, combo audio jack, packed with what you need. This things and light convertible PC has every port you need. We have on the right we have the SD card reader, USB Type C with HP sleep and charge indicator. We have the USB 3.1 Type A port, HDMI port, power adapter over there. Coming to the test graphics and gaming performance using 3D Mark I Storm Unlimited benchmark. Higher number among these is the best. So in this we can see that HP Paradox 360 14-inch is 70,000 3D Mark Ice Storm Unlimited. So in that we have Asus ZenBook is the highest among these, and second highest is the HP Pavilion x360 14-inch. We have the HP Pavilion x360 for the battery life. Among these four, categories. We have the HP Pavilion X360 only for 6 hours 17 minutes as tested. Among these four, HP Pavilion 360 14-inch is the least among these four, and if its battery life was better than these four, then it would be the best to invert comfortable laptop over here. Then let's go to the next one. We have the color accuracy over here. HP Line 360 14-inch, 0.23 color accuracy in this Huawei MateBook is the highest, and the average among these is 0.72. So HP Line 60 is the second among these four. Going to the display brightness in nits, the average screen brightness as measured in nits. So higher is the best. Here we can see that HP Pavilion X360 14-inch is the highest among these, as it is 261 nits, but 400 nits is the highest in HP Pavilion X360. And if it's 400 nits, it will get more brightness. And test system configurations. HP Pavilion X360 processor Core i5-8265U with 1.6 GHz processor, and we have the graphics Intel UHD graphics 620. We have the memory and the storage 8 GB of RAM and 128 GB of SSD. It can be 256 GB SSD also. I prefer it should be 512 GB SSD or 1 TB SSD. No, if there's HDD only, then it will be very slow. PC Mac productivity and the storage. Higher is the best, so HP Pavilion X360 is uh, the third last. I mean the second, third last. Third among these five. So the PC Mark 8 in the storage test, it is the third, and among the PC Mark 10 overall score, in that HP Pavilion X360 is the fourth among these five. Sinbach R15. HP Pavilion X360 14 527 cores settings. This is the all core settings, and higher is the best. So Dell Inspiron is the highest among these. Photoshop CC. Apply 10 filters to the test pictures GPG, and it is in seconds, and lower is the best. Dell Inspiron is the lowest, so it is the best in Photoshop CC. And we have the HP Pavilion X360 14 178 seconds, so little more less than it would be better. Then let's go to the 3D Mark graphics test. Yeah, higher is the best. So in the Skydiver, we have the HP Pavilion X360 with 4034 graphics test 3D. So we have the 4466 as the highest, which is the LG gram. Then we have the Strike. um, Fire Strike, it is 1180 is the highest, and we have HP Honest 36985 among these. It is the lowest, so 3D Mark graphics, it is a loser among these five. Going to the Eugene superposition 1.0 frames per second, higher is the best. So 720p lowest preset. We have the LG gram as the highest, and HP Pavilion 360 has 16 only, and we have the 1080p high preset. Oh wow, all three are equal in that. Video rundown battery test was 2 minutes. So this is like a battery test among these five, which is the best. So in this HP Pavilion X360 video rundown battery test, it has 12 hours 33 minutes. Let's go to the next. We have the HP Pavilion in the tent mode, and over there you can see that you can turn your laptop and just do any work by doing in the 10 mode. And here you can see the keyboard over there, seems pretty cool. um, precision mouse pad. We have the fingerprint reader next to the mouse pad, and we have the Core i5 8 Gen Bang& and Olufsen speakers. All details will be told after this slideshow. Going to the tablet mode over here, we can use the laptop in a tablet mode, also in a 10 mode, also in a stand mode, also in a laptop mode also. Going to the laptop, it seems pretty cool, designable, um, edges, vertices, body, all seems pretty good. Build quality is also best. This is the front side of the laptop. You can see it's the bezels on the right, left, and the top has been reduced, but thick bezels on the bottom of the screen. Hinges also sturdy. Pros and cons of the laptop over here. Low price, that's the pros. Low price, good battery life, and keyboard feel. We have the cons over here. We have skimmy 128 GB solid state drive, but if it's 256 also a little more better, and 512 also more better than 256 and 128. Bland display, dull display. Pen is not included, you have to buy it separately. Coming to um, the um, a description of the laptop. Let's talk it up over here. So HP Pavilion x360 over here. A brief info I will just say, or I can explain it more better. So Pavilion x360 weighs 3.5 pounds, and yeah, which is lighter than Dell Inspiron but heavier than our more expensive editor's choice, the 13.9-inch Lenovo Yoga C930 3.1 pounds. We have like most two-in-ones, it's a bit ungainly to hold in a midair rather than rest in your lap in tablet mode. Um, as I've shown the left side of the laptop, and then okay, so let's go to convertible left edge holds three USB 3.1 type A port and audio jack, security lock slot, and the power button. On the right edge, you will find another USB type 3.1 type A port, a USB 3.1 type C port, an HDMI video output, a full-size SD card slot, and the connector for the AC adapter. There is no Thunderbolt 3 port, which is not a surprise at this low price, nor is there a volume rocker for use in tent or tablet mode, or a place to stash a pen or a stylus for the touch screen, just as well since there's no pen included. You have to buy it separately. All the essentials. Medium thin bezels, except for the thicker bottom bezels, surround the 14-inch touchscreen, which offers full HD, um, which offers full HD 1920 by 1080 resolution. IPS technology provides wide viewing angles and decent contrast. Fine details are suitably sharp, and the brightness is adequate, but the display gives off a faint economy model vibe. Nonetheless, colors don't pop, and backgrounds suggest a touch of white. It's far from the worst screen I have seen, but it's ordinary rather than extraordinary. The 720p webcam quality centered above the display captures average quality images, just a bit dim and noisy, but pretty good in terms of focus and detail. There's no face recognition camera, but a fingerprint reader on the keyboard deck works with Windows Hello to bypass password. The keyboard is a backlight and has dedicated home and page up and page down keys rather than double teaming those functions on the cursor arrow keys. The escape and the deleted case are small, but others are sized and separated nicely. After dozens of HP laptop reviews, I have now a macro on my own keyboard to complain about the HP clumsy arrangement of the cursor arrows in the row instead of more comfortable inverted T, but my cries go unheeded. Typing feels somewhat shallow but firm and sharpy. Snappy with a quiet clicking sound and fair tactile feedback. The buttonless touchpad is wide but not very deep. It glides and taps smoothly. It requires a light press to produce a quiet click. We have the sound from the Bang& Olufsen's tuned speakers isn't very loud, but neither it is a distorted or tiny at top volume. There's little bass, but overlaying tracks are distinguishable. A supplied Bang& Olufsen audio control utility offers music, movie, and voice presets, and an equalizer. SP backs the Pavilion with a 1 year warranty, 2-in-1 put to the test. In addition to its 8 GB of memory and one 28 GB SSD, the Pavilion X360 14 features Intel's 1.6 GHz, 3.9 GHz Turbo Core i5 A265U processor with USB 620 integrated graphics for performance comparisons. I pitted these system against four other 14-inch compatibles. Core i5 based Lenovo Idea Powerflex, um, uh, and ISS Pen 3 and Core i7 powered Dell Inspiron 14 5002 in 1 and LG Gram 14 2-in-1. The first three are comparatively priced through the LGs well into the four figures. You can see the basic specs which I showed in the slideshow before. While not a barn burner, the HP proved thoroughly competent for every productivity and online task. Its graphics scores showed it far short of suitability for serious gamings, but that's been true of every laptop we have ever tested and with integrated graphics rather than a discrete GPU. Let me check the live chat of this user this video, and I will reply it now only. So I have replied to the chat over there. Now let's check the continuation of the productivity, storage, and media test. We have the PC Mark 10 and 8 are holistic performance suits developed by the PC benchmark specialist at UL, formerly FutureMark. The Pavilion PC Mark test we run simulates different real world productivity and content creation workflows. We use it to assess the overall system performance for office-centric tasks such as word processing, spreadsheet wrangling. We have the web browsing, and video conferencing. The test generates a proprietary numeric score. Higher numbers are the best, and I just showed in the slideshow. PC Mark 8 meanwhile has storage subtest that we use to access the speed of the boot drive. The result is also a proprietary numeric score. Again, higher number is the best. And all the five convertible miss the 4000 point mark. We consider excellent in PC Mark 10, but we are close enough to indicate the perfectly fine performance for Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. PC Marks 8 storage test. We have the hell noters for the speedy solid state. And then um um held noters for the speedy solid states SSD. Then we have the Core i7 Inspiron led the way with the LG Gram something of an underperformer. You won't mistake any of these machines for a 3D rendering or video editing workstation, but you won't have to take a coffee break during routine operations. Just the Cinech badge R15 all core settings, higher is the best. And we have the Adobe Photoshop over here. We also run a custom Adobe Photoshop image editing benchmark using an early 2018 release of the Creative Cloud version of the Photoshop. We apply a series of 10 complex filters and effects to a standard JPEG test image. We time each um, operation and at the end add up the total execution time. The lower time is the best in the Photoshop CC that slideshow I have shown before. The Photoshop test stresses the CPU storage system and RAM, but it can also take advantage of the most of these GPUs to speed up the process of applying the filters. Then we have, let's check what we get. Um, we have the Dell and the LG carried the Core i7. Um, and a 4K display, but the Pavilion x360 can handle occasional image touch strips. The graphic test I have shown in the slideshow, all things I have showed, just explaining, giving a brief of these tests for proving that HP Pavilion x360 is good or not. Is it average? Is it good for students? It's good for anyone else like office work, etc. CD mark measures relative graphics by rendering sequences of highly detailed gaming styles 3D graphics that emphasize particles and lighting. We run two different 3D marks, Substance, Skydiver, and the Fire Strike, which are suited to different types of systems. Then we have the my mid-range PCs, while Fire Strike is more demanding and made for high-end PCs to strut their stuff. The results are of the proprietary scores given the slideshow which I have showed before. These numbers are low across the board. Expect these hybrids to play casual or browse-based games, but don't even think about the latest titles. Next up is another synthesis, the superposition, the test renders and pans through a detailed 3D scene and measures how the system copes. In this case, it's rendered in the company's eponymous engine offers a different 3D workload scenario that 3D Mark for a second opinion on the machine's graphical powers. We present two superposition runs results run at the 720p low and 1080p high presets. A 4 is not quite 30, and the difference between 4 fps and 30 fps indicates how far integrated graphics have to catch up with the dedicated graphics of real gaming laptops. Now let's check what the live chat. Is there any questions? Um, The laptop will be shown at the last after my brief info about the Pavilion X360. The battery rundown test. After fully rechargeable laptop, we set up the machine in power save mode, as opposed to the balanced or high performance mode, were available, and make a few other battery conserving tweaks in preparation for our unplugged video rundown test. We also turn Wi-Fi off, putting the laptop into airplane mode. In this test, we loop a video, a locally stored 720p file of a Blender Foundation store a short film Tears of Steel. The live will continue in a moment. So, with screen brightness set at 50% and volume at 100% until the system counts out. It seems like only yesterday that we are praising the laptop for managing 5 or 6 hours away from an AC outlet. The pavilions, today's pavilions 12 inch and a half hours aren't um, uh, ex- ex- exceptional, but still an excellent result. Getting through a workday plus an evening of Netflix will not be problem. A low storage ceiling. If the Best Buy hadn't hiked the HP Pavilion X360 price from $599, it would easily earn 3.5 and maybe even 4 stars as is. I hesitate to give more than 3 to any system with only 128 GB, but it should be more. Here 92 GB free out of the box. That isn't the barest budget model. In terms of the future proofing, a 256 GB SSD is a far preferable, which I told. With that in the mind, you might want to check out different configuration on hp.com. One with 256 GB solid SSD and 12 GB of memory is normally $899.99, but when I wrote it, it was in a sale for 749 um, 0.99, which is definitely tempting. The $100 thousand convertible market is crowded and competitive. A little hunting can turn up some real versions. Pros and cons of the laptop, which is the pros. Low price, good battery life, keyboard feel. Cons, we have the skimpy 128 GB SSD is not enough. 256, 512, and 1 TB SSD is very good. I prefer 256 as minimum. maximum 1 TB SSD. We have the bland or dull display. Pen is not included, you have to buy it separately. So the bottom line of the laptop, priced well under the $1,000. HP Pavilion X360 14 is a convertible Core i5 processor for the masses, and sometime of a pleasant surprise, also a 128 GB SSD. It's pretty thin nowadays, going to be, and but I prefer 256 GB minimum and maximum 1 TB HDD. So as one person told that to show the laptop, I'll just show the live will continue in. As one person told that to show the laptop is over here, the HP Pavilion X360 over here, 14-inch convertible, and this is the back side, and over here this is the right side, left side, and trying to open the laptop over here seems pretty cool, right? And just going to show you the laptop over here. um so the laptop is over here. So this is in the laptop mode. This is in the 10 mode, and we have the laptop in the tablet mode. Can be hold like this. Do it with the pen if it's available. Um, then you can put in the stand mode over here. Like this. We have the grips over there. So if you do in the stand mode, tablet mode, the grips will protect it from um, hitting the table or the ground. Now more configuration, all the design, all these things will be coming now. Coming to the introduction again, a different topic, but different content and different same topic. The latest HP Pavilion 360 borders right on the edge of a premium laptop, offering a strong processor, comfortable keyboard, and a good pair of Bang& Olufsen speakers. If it wasn't for short battery life and dull display, it would be among the best laptops, at least one of the best two-in-one laptops. Despite that, the Pavilion X360 is a decent machine. The price and configuration options has three options over there. The base model Pavilion X360 runs for $499 and has a Core i3 8145U processor, 8 GB of RAM, 128 GB of SSD, and 1366 into 768 display. Meanwhile, the $899 model jam packs a Core i5 826 CPU, 12 GB of RAM, and 256 GB of SSD, and 1920 into 1080 screen. The Pavilion X360 that I tested costed $749 and comes outfitted with an Intel Core i5 8265U processor, 8 GB of RAM, 128 GB of SSD, and 1920 into 1080 panel. So I got in the 83,000 $749 and 60,000 rupees. The design of the HP Pavilion X360, the hood of the Pavilion X360, is rendered in a warm gold paint and stamped at the center is a reflective HP logo. The edges of the hood and the deck curve outward and then the inward as they meet each other as a hourglass design that surrounds the Pavilion X360. There's also a Pavilion logo on the hinge of the laptop. Opening the Pavilion X360 reveals a slightly more silver tone on the deck, a carved out section for the keyboard at the center, and a ventrille for the Bang& Olufsen speakers just above it. There's also a fingerprint reader to the right of the touchpad. Thankfully, the bezels on the display over the top, right, and left are relatively slim, but the thick bottom bezels are a real problem. Folding the Pavilion X360 into the 10 and then the tablet mode reveals the bottom and the top parts do not exactly line up, but the bottom is at least magnetic, so it stays in one position nicely. At 3.6 pounds and 12.7 into 8.8 into 0.8 inches, the Pavilion X360 is a bit of a cruncher compared to the competition. The Asus Spin 3, who I made, and made Book D and Asus ZenBook 13. We have the ports of the HP Pavilion X360. There are a decent number of ports for the SP Pavilion X360 14, including one USB Type 3.0 port, a headphone jack 3.5 mm, the power button, and a security lock slot, and all on the left side. Meanwhile, the right side features the power jack, an HDMI port, one USB Type 3.0 port, one USB Type C port, and a SD card slot. The display, the HP Pavilion X360 14-inch 1920 into 1080 display is a little on the dull side, and while the screen is relatively bright, its glossy texture makes it a little frustrating to look at. Um, According to our colorimeter, the HP Pavilion X360 panel covers 61% of the sRGB color gamut, which is duller than 76 percentage mainstream laptop average. Not to mention the Spin 369%, the MateBook D 73%, and ZenBook 13 115%. At 265 nits, the Pavilion X360 panel is brighter than the category average 253 nits, as well as Spin 3 237 nits, the MateBook D 230 nits, and ZenBook 13 225 nits. Coming to the keyboard and touchpad after a short break, coming up. Coming to the keyboard and touchpad of the laptop HP Pavilion X360. Tapping on the Pavilion X360 is immensely satisfying. The keys aren't snappy, but they feel smooth and require decent amount of force and travel before they hit the bottom. I spent through 74 words per minute on the 10fastfingers.com typing the test, which is faster than my current one. Um, which is 70 WPM average. The keys travel at 1.5 millimeters, which is over the cusp of our preferred 1.5 to 2 millimeter range, and they require a solid 70 grams of force to actuate it. The Pavilion X360 touchscreen panel was responsive as I drew a crude painting of a sunset. The Pavilion X360 4.3 into 2.1 inches touchpad has a semi made texture that's not comfortable as the ones installed on the Elite book and the uh, Elite book line, but it works fine. The pad of the Windows 10 precision driver, so it handled Windows 10 gestures such as three finger tabbing. Um, and two fingers scrolling nicely. The audio of the HP Pavilion X360 top firing Bang& and Olufsen speakers are surprisingly good for the for sub $800 laptop. While the speakers could have been slightly louder than they were able to carry the MISO ICU throughout a small office, the open vocals combined with the keyboard notes robbed me into the moment. And when the drum beats dropped, I could feel the weight of the bass. The overall sound could be brighter, better, but I have heard worse speakers on $2000 plus machines. The audio benefits from the Bang& Olufsen's audio app, which includes the presets for the music, movie, and voice. Within those settings are dials for the bass, treble, and dialogue clarity, as well as full equalizer. Then we have the performance of HP Pavilion X360, which is the armed with an Intel Core i5 8265U processor and 8 GB of RAM. The Pavilion X360 juggles 30 Google Chrome tabs and 4 1080p YouTube videos simultaneously without a sweat. On the Geekbench 4.1 overall performance test, the Pavilion X360 scored 12,495, which is just above the 9,482 mainstream laptop average. It couldn't get the past the Spins 3 Core i5 8250 13,203 or the ZenBook 13 Core i5 8265U 15,110, but it was faster than the MateBook D's AMD Ryzen 5 2500U 8845. The Pavilion X360 transcoded a 4K video to 1080p in 21 minutes and 59 seconds on a handbrake benchmark, which may seem long, but it's a lot quicker than the category average. However, the Spin 3, the MateBook D, and the ZenBook all finished faster. It feels 120 GB copied 4.97 GB of data in 41 seconds, translating to 1 to 4 Mbps, which is only slightly faster than the average mainstream laptop. Which is 119 Mbps. The MateBook D is a little slower, and Spin 3 ramps up some speed while the ZenBook 13 breaks the sound barrier in comparison. Coming to the graphics, it is powered with an Intel UHD 620 GPU. The Pavilion X360 scored 71,938 on the 3D Mark I Storm Unlimited Graphics benchmark, which surpassed the mainstream laptop average 6,158, as well as the performance from the Spin 3's Intel UHD 620 and the MateBook D's Radeon Vega 8. However, the ZenBook 13 Intel UHD 620 outdid the competition. In real world testing, the Pavilion x360 ran the Dirt 3 benchmark at 26 frames per second, which is nearby half of the category average. Not to mention below the 30 FPS minimum for the playability. On the top of that, we have the Spin 3, the MateBook D, and the ZenBook 13 all perform above the average. We have the battery life now. Unfortunately, the Pavilion let's go to the battery life now. Unfortunately, the Pavilion X360 doesn't have the stellar battery life. After it continuously surfaces the web over Wi-Fi at 150 nits of the brightness, the battery survives for 6 hours 17 minutes, and which is just below 6.39 mainstream laptop average. The quote, unfortunately, the Pavilion X360 doesn't have the stellar battery life. While the Pavilion comes close to the average, its runtime was destroyed by the Spin 3, the MateBook D, and the ZenBook 13. Let's go to the webcam of the HP Pavilion X360 over here. While the Pavilion X360 720p shooter is in a grainy as most webcams, it still struggles to reveal the detail in my hair and beard. If you have, I don't have. Um, the camera caught the red, white, and blue in my shirt. Red, white, and blue over here. Not the pink, green, or yellow. Not to mention that it succumbed to the flare of the ceiling light, so half of the ceiling was splashed out. Let's go to the heat of the Pavilion X360 performed well under the pressure after it streamed a 15 minutes 1080p video. The hottest underside girt was 91 degrees Fahrenheit, which is well within a 95-degree comfort zone. The center of the keyboard and the taskbar came in at 85 and 80 degrees respectively. Let's go to the software and the warranty card, warranty and the bottom line of the HP Pavilion X360 14-inch 2019 model. There are several HP branded utilities in the Pavilion S360, including the Jumpstart, HP Support Assistance, HP Smart, and HP PC hardware diagnosis. Then we have the HP Cold Sense, which can automatically adjust performance and fan settings to offset heat. That's also a ton of Windows 10 bloatware, including the Candy Crush Saga, Gardenscapes, and Asphalt Street Storm Racing. We have the HP Pavilion 360 comes with a 1 year limited warranty. See how HP performs on our tech support showdown and best and worst brands ranking. The bottom line of the HP Pavilion S360 is a solid mainstream laptop in that it offers a commendable performance, a satisfying keyboard, and some banging speakers, but it's tough to get over the short battery life and a dull display, especially when you're paying close to the premium prices. For $850, you can get the ZenBook 13, which features a more premium design, strong performance, and a battery that you will just stay online for more than 11 hours. But overall, the Pavilion X360 is a decent laptop if you can deal with a short battery life. The HP Pavilion X360 specs over here. Brand is HP, CPU is Intel Core i5, 8265 processor, display 14-inch, graphics in the USD 620, GPU, hard drive size 120 GB, 128 GB SSD, hard drive type resolution 1920 into 1080, native resolution 1920 into 1080, RAM 8 GB, upgradable to 12 GB with touchpad size 4.3 into 2.1 inch, and the laptop size is 12.7 into 8.8 into 0.8 inches with warranty or support 1 year limited warranty, weight 3.6 to pounds. And that's all, and see you. Goodbye.